Yo, it's me, it's the SCOTT. And this is part of a series of videos I'm going to be doing on series finales. Good or bad, just talk about series finales. And today we're going to talk about Two and a Half Men. Two and a Half Men, it's a little backstory on the show, started off as a vehicle for Charlie Sheen, about a guy who is forced to live with his brother and his nephew when he gets kicked out, but his brother gets kicked out by his wife. And it ran for 6 undisturbed seasons before Charlie Sheen's substance abuses started to mess with it, causing seasons 7 and 8 to be cut short. 7 so he can go to rehab, and 8 because Chuck Lorre, the series creator, had enough. Eventually, Charlie Sheen went out of his way to bash Chuck Lorre publicly, and he got fired. Ashton Kutcher was replaced Charlie Sheen playing the character of Walter Smith in seasons 9 through 12. Yeah, it lasted 12 seasons. But to this day, the series finale is regarded as one of the worst due to the fact that it's not even a finale. Chuck Lorre decided he was going to use the series finale as a way to get one final jab at Charlie Sheen. So those of you who don't know, at the beginning of towards the end of season 9, I guess, Charlie and his longtime stalker, Rose, had gotten married and went to Paris for their honeymoon. I assume I haven't seen all the episodes, but I'm assuming that's what happened. Well, in between that and the beginning of season 9, Charlie Harper died when he got hit by a train in France. So they had a funeral. Walden Smith then tried to drown himself in the ocean, but didn't because it was too cold. You can't make this shit up. And he ends up buying Charlie's house and lets Alan live there rent-free for 4 fucking years. There are times when he just sort of moves out, but he comes back. And the big story was yes, it's a vehicle for Charlie Sheen, but I always thought of it as Alan Harper's story. Like the first episode is about Alan getting kicked out of his house by his wife who wants a divorce, and he has to live with his brother. You know? Yes, Charlie Sheen was the star, but Alan Harper was really the main character to me. I always thought it that way. So, the show found ways to keep going, even though the Two and a Half Men really got to be 3 men by the time Charlie left, because Angus T. Jones, who played Jake, the nephew, was about this tall. Probably taller than me. But anyway, after Charlie Sheen left, then Angus T. Jones went out of his way to bash the show due to his Christian values, I guess. Who knows? He left at the end of season 9 when he and his friend, who was also the son of Alan's girlfriend at the time, I can't remember her name. Anyway, they go into the military. First of all, they're stoners, that makes no sense, but they go into the military, that's how they write him off. He shows up sporadically throughout season 10, but in season 11, they decide to write in an illegitimate daughter for Charlie Harper named Jenny, who is a lesbian and is just like her father. But then we get to season 12, and season 12, Walden decides his life's not going the way he wants it, and he wants to have children. So he decides to marry Alan so they can be a couple and adopt a child. And in the episode prior to the series finale, storylines are tied up. Alan proposes to Lindsay, that's the girlfriend, and Walden gets his child. What's left to do? Well, my thought was, okay, so the finale is going to have a time jump to 6 months to a year, right? And it's going to be at Alan and Lindsay's wedding, and the whole episode is going to be flashbacks to good moments throughout the series that he had in the house, and he's finally going to say goodbye to his brother's house after 12 fucking years. And that's the closure Alan was going to get. Nope, Chuck Lorre's just going to stab us. Take a stab, not stab us. Take a stab, one last stab, get the last laugh against Charlie Sheen, because the episode, series finale, has them revealing that Charlie Harper has been alive for 4 years, stuck in a dungeon in Rose's house in the suburbs. This makes no sense. One, Alan had a conversation with the ghost of his brother, played by Kathy Bates. And two, fucking Rose started stalking Walden. Was even gonna teach his girlfriend how to stalk. She was in a relationship with Walden. Why would she do that if Charlie was in her basement? It makes no sense. What we get from this finale is a bunch of celebrity cameo-packed bullshit. Even a recapping of the series as told by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who plays the chief of police. And he sits down and he tells the whole story. And that, not only is that ridiculous, but it also tells your viewers the flaws in the show they've watched for 12 years, making them think, oh, well, we wish to be watching this for 12 years. Yeah, I think I still enjoy watching the show, but the finale ruins it for me, I think. And for some reason, Charlie's trying to get revenge on his brother and Walden. Why? It's not their fault he was locked in a dungeon for 4 years. They didn't know he was still alive. Why was he coming after them? It makes no sense. Why he would be coming after them? Yes, Charlie had anger issues, but why would he be coming after his brother? And some guy he didn't even know, who bought his house because he thought he was dead. It makes no sense. And after all this build-up, for an hour of cameos and bullshit, we don't even get to see Charlie Sheen because they asked Charlie Sheen to come back, but he took one look at the script and told him to fuck off because he's not going to do that. So instead, because apparently the idea was that Charlie Sheen was going to walk up to the screen, turn around, and list all the problems about alcoholism and drug abuse. And he thought that was funny and he thought it was a funny idea, didn't like it, and suggested that instead he and John Cryer should star in a spin-off called The Harpers, which Laurie also found hilarious. So instead, we have someone, supposedly Charlie Harper, shown from the back. As he rings the doorbell, a piano falls on him. The camera pans back to Chuck Lorre, who looks at the camera and says, winning, before a piano falls on him. And that's it. That's the end. There's no closure in the storylines. There's nothing. There's no definitive ending. It's just farce for an hour. Just to have one last jab at Charlie Sheen, so that Chuck Lorre can get the last laugh against Charlie Sheen. And here's the kicker for me. I was so excited for this finale because I wanted to see how it ended, right? That I normally watch wrestling on Mondays. This was on Thursdays, I guess, so never mind. But I decided to watch this live instead of watching it on demand. I watched it live. And man, was I fucking disappointed. Oh boy. Oh boy, did it disappoint me. It was terrible. I thought I was going to explode. That this was so disappointing to me. This finale is shit. Very much so. Alright, so that's the end of the first episode of Finales. It's 2.5 Men. Next I'm going to be covering the Friends finale. And while that's a good finale, I do have some opinions on it. And while I have no way to rewatch this one, I've seen enough clips and stuff to talk about it. I'm going to rewatch the Friends series finale right after this, while this is uploading, and then I'll talk about it. So, so what are your opinions on the 2.5 Men season finale? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.